episode of From the Petty Corner. I'm Diana, and I have the first and only middleweight champion here with me today, John the Machine Davis. Welcome to the Petty Corner.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm so excited to have you here today. Okay, and you know we do have to get a little petty because this is the Petty Corner. So
of course.
I'm going to name off some names, and I just want you to name a farm animal that they remind you of because you grew up on a farm. Okay, so Azael.
Dog.
Isaiah.
A show animal. I don't have an actual name of an animal, but I'd say he's a show animal. That's for sure.
I like it. Brandon Wardell.
I don't know, maybe like a dung beetle, even though that's not a farm animal. That's the closest relation as I can think to an animal to think of for him.
Okay, and last one, Wesley.
Wesley's like the alien that comes and takes the animals from the farm, is what I'm going to say. Is his label.
All right, that was good. So if you could challenge any celebrity to a power slap match, who would it be?
Man, any celebrity. I guess who would ever bring the most eyes? You know, it'd be fun to, obviously in this day and age, you know, get a chance to knock out Jake Paul. I think that everyone would enjoy that. But me more so personally, that would be some Ohio on Ohio crime. You know, that would really kind of hit home, and to have that happen somewhere in Ohio, that'd be the best power slap match ever.
It's a very popular answer, and I know Dana talks about doing celebrity matches, but I just don't ever see him and Jake Paul doing business together.
No, but I'll ask for that. I'll tell him to send a contract with my name on it to him or Dylan Dennis, so that way they can both get the smoke.
I think Paige's husband wants Dylan Dennis first, though, because they got like some personal stuff.
Very likely, but I would like to go train Paige's husband so that way he has the best opportunity to knock Dylan Dennis out the same as I would like to.
I love it. Okay, so out of all of your opponents that you have faced before, who has the softest hands?
Probably Jesse Nutting, you know, and I don't know if that's because he's on the vegan diet or he just happened to really be, you know, messing with the lotion and keeping the skin the skin smooth so it doesn't get the hose again. That's what I'm gonna say.
Sorry, Jesse.
It's all in good fun. He knows that.
Yeah, I see you guys on the Barefisted, so I know you guys. It's just all up there.
Oh, yeah. I'm still trying to get us that fight. I don't care. Karate Combat, Bare Knuckle, me and Jesse, anytime. That would be an awesome show. I'm just saying.
You guys in Karate Combat would be awesome.
Yeah, I feel like that was with the ability to go up there and try some crazy stuff off the walls of that pit. I'd be doing, you know, a front flip, back flip, side flip, something, trying to do a crazy KO.
Hell yeah. Okay, so you were born and raised in Ohio?
Correct.
And you still live there?
Yes.
What was it like growing up on the farm there?
A little bit different than most everybody else's farm life experiences. I grew up on an ostrich farm. You know, that was basically like having velociraptors roaming around my backyard, minus the sharp teeth, but they would still peck you in the head real quick. So, you know, I was the adrenaline junkie stuff started early. With living the farm life. So, you know, I'd say the most memorable and, you know, unordinary aspect was the ostriches.
Yeah, that's crazy. I couldn't imagine like a ton of ostriches in my backyard.
Yeah, it was an experience and a half, to say the least.
And then did you play any sports growing up? I know you have a little bit of powerlifting and MMA background, but did you play any other sports?
Yeah, I played football all through school, basically. Wrestled from junior high through high school, and then one season of track my senior year to try and stay out of trouble so I could graduate.
So how did all of that lead you to power slap?
again, I think it ties more so into the adrenaline junkie stuff started early. So doing crazy, wild things has always been uh, an aspect of my life. And when things are super mundane and boring, it's not the healthiest mind state for me to be in. So doing the extreme, daredevilish adrenaline junkie stuff is right up my alley.
So you speaking about you constantly having to do something and like the adrenaline and everything. How do you feel like sitting out for so long then? Because we haven't seen you in a while.
Oh, it's fucking terrible. I hate it. I'm screaming at my TV while people are, participating at events. I'm watching this next season, and I can't say that I'm completely disappointed with every single fight because there are plenty of good ones, but it's one of those things where I thought by now people would be catching on a little bit better, but obviously not. Maybe if they would have chose me as a coach, they would have had a little less problems, but that's, for the future to find out whether I can make that big of an impact. Fingers crossed.
That's interesting that
But
you say that too. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. I was just gonna say, but the long layoff, man, I can't describe. I have an itch that needs scratching so bad. I'd go out and slap myself in the street at this point.
I'm sure like you could just probably walk around downtown and get people to pay you to slap them.
Very easily. I'm sure we've had that happen in Vegas a few times where you have to tell people that, buddy, you're drunk. If one of us slaps you, you're probably not getting back up. So you should just wander onto your hotel room and go to bed.
That's hilarious. But yeah, I want to back up a little bit because you were saying it kind of frustrates you that these new guys on this season haven't picked it up yet because they had the most coaches on this season, I feel like, than they've ever had before. Is it just like a short amount of time of coaching that they get that they're not able to pick it up as quick? Or what do you think the disconnect is there?
I think a lot of people are holding on to the idea of I can just do this off the couch. And to a certain extent, yeah. Could two people come up off the couch and go up and do this and someone knock someone out? Absolutely. But also, we're doing this at a level where there's people literally training 5, 6, 7 days a week in some aspect to be prepared to do this, that are just going to stay ahead of the pack, forever at this point. Because I think from season 1 to now, there's been enough events and there's been the first 2 seasons for people to really understand the rule set and figure out the best way to train and to win and abide by that rule set.
Yeah, I love it. Because I always say that too. There's a lot of technique and training that does go into it. And I'm not a striker, obviously. I don't have any plans to, but I can pick up on the techniques and everything. Like I understand like the head positioning and all that kind of stuff just by watching. So they can go back and watch that. That is a great point that you bring up.
Yeah, I figured by now everyone, like if you're gonna fight someone, you're gonna watch film on them, right? If it's an MMA fight, if it's boxing, if it's football, soccer, if you're figuring out what tendencies they have. So this is the same concept, and it's it should be a little bit easier for people to go through and break down what they see someone doing and what they can relate to their own technique, body build. And if you got super long arms and you can't necessarily hold your arm a certain way, I'm sure there's someone that you can go watch that's going to be not exactly like you, but close enough that you can take what they're showing you and then tweak it here and there to modify it for yourself, so that way you can be doing this to the best of your ability.
Yeah. And look at Babyface. He has no experience with combat sports. He hired a coach, which there's not many power slap coaches out there, but he just hired an athletic coach and he watched the tapes to learn techniques and did training accordingly. So it's out there. So you can definitely find it.
The ability to train and learn more is growing. Like I just linked back up with the guy that I used to powerlift with the other day, and the things that we were going over, to a certain extent, I'm doing that kind of stuff at home. But what we were able to break down and really go over, because this guy was a technician when it come to working out. So him and I linking back up was perfect timing. And he knows, as crazy as I am, that if I was diving into something, that I was already doing it to the best of my ability. So hopefully I can up my game even more for whenever it is I get the phone call in the future.
Hopefully soon. And I don't know if you want to talk about it, but what kind of training are you guys doing? Like in your off season, I guess. Like how are you staying prepared for when you do get the call?
Um, I'm always trying to stay ready because they could call at any moment for anything. But the stuff that I was talking about in particular, it was more so a breakdown of movements in smaller aspects to literally go from the feet to the hips up to the upper body, where we kind of just went back over everything, broke it down, and added a few things with a specific system that he had set up for me to, kind of hook yourself up to these attachments and have some resistance build up to you. I really enjoyed it, and I really hope that it's going to push me even further than I'm already pushing myself.
I love it. Do you ever sit down and think like how wild it is that you're the first ever Power Slap middleweight champion since Power Slap 1? We're about to go on 9. You're the only one. You've defended it 2 times. Like, how do you wrap your head around that, I guess, is what I'm trying to ask.
It's one of many things I think at this point that later on I'm going to be like, oh, wow. But right now I'm so focused on give me a task, give me a job to complete, that like, yeah, it's cool. I'm technically a one of one at this point in time. I'm one of the only original champions who, as many title defenses as I've been allotted, I've won and maintained that belt from the beginning, which, no one else has done without moving weight classes. And, I think the bells are the equivalent of me with 2 title defenses, but unfortunately wasn't able to be an original champion because that's just how things panned out for him.
Mm-hmm. I just think it's so wild to think too, because like in the history books, like you said, like in a couple years, you're just gonna forever be cemented in Power Slap history. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I usually say in interviews that that's one of the first, winning the belt was the first brick to building the foundation that's going to be my career.
And how did you get involved with Power Slap? Because you were in the qualifiers, right? And in the house.
Yeah, at the very beginning qualifiers, and then one of the few people selected to go straight into the house. I found it. I was honestly looking to get into amateur MMA in the local area, and through looking through like the Facebook ads and fight groups. One day, all of the same groups that I was looking in had slapping for money on it, and at first I thought it was a crock of shit, but lo and behold, I posted a comment, and then a few weeks later, I'm sitting in this garage out here, talking to producers and doing paperwork to fly out to Vegas.
That's wild. Yeah, I spoke to Azael before too, and he said it's kind of similar thing. He like saw ads, and he thought they were gonna kidnap him. Like he didn't believe it was real the whole time.
Oh yeah, at the
Yeah.
very first qualifiers, we all had the same thought that we all might end up in a bathtub full of ice with some inside parts missing, but luckily that was not the case.
Yeah, and we've talked about you coaching and stuff. So you would be open to going back as a coach?
Oh, absolutely. I would love to coach one of the seasons in all reality. As a coach for the events, I really have to make time if people want, because I also know that they have their own training regimens that they've come up with this. And if they don't want any input from me, by all means, I'm not going to sit there and try and, beat a dead horse. But for the live events, I get 2 or 3 days to actually try and train with people, and that's just minor details and tweaks that we get to do compared to the whole 2 to 3 weeks that I would get to work with people during the actual season. I feel like that would be so much better off than only having a day or two to attempt to work on stuff in our own spare time.
Yeah. Um, who would you want the other coach to be in the house if you got selected to be on a season as a coach?
Preferably someone I'm fighting, because I know that they've done it in people in different weight classes. But I mean, I don't care. Anyone that I could get to fight, and someone who's actually going to show their guys the right way to do stuff, not just be a placeholder to sit up there and pretend to be a coach. Like someone who legitimately has some passion for this and isn't just kind of, flapping at the cameras.
Yeah. What does your wife and kids think of you doing this? Was she like, you're crazy? Or she was just like, yeah, if you want to do it, then do it.
Pretty much that's how it came about. Once I started, it was like, hey, I'm interested in doing this. We all sat down and, to the best of the ability of the kids, had a conversation like, hey, I'm going to be trying this dangerous stuff. Like, does anyone have a problem with that right now, so we can talk about it? Because obviously if they were going to be freaking out like, oh my God, no, don't, we can't, you shouldn't do that. And, it would have taken a little more discussion, but they were all like, whatever you want to do, Dad. And I was like, I'm going then. Let's do this.
That's awesome. You have one of the most exciting divisions, and nobody can change my mind about that. It got shaken up at Power Slap 8. Brandon Bordeaux's climbing up the rankings. Isaiah came out and made a statement by knocking out Wes. We got Azael still sitting at the top. What do you think is next for you, realistically? Because all of those guys want you, and then we have two new guys from season 3 that also made the rankings, but we haven't seen really what they've done yet. But what do you think is next for you?
In all seriousness, anybody in the top 5. Like you said, Azael stayed at that number 1 spot, and it's nothing against him, but I don't see him giving a trilogy right now. That would be, 4 title fights, 3 of them against Azael, and that's, again, nothing against him, but I'm sure they want to switch it up, and he might have to go out and knock somebody else out again to, get the trilogy after I go beat somebody. But yeah, anyone in the top 5, I could really see them giving a shot to at this point. It just depends on who they would like to, finally give me a chance to go up there and knock out.
I love it. So if they aren't going to give you Azael right away, I would like to see Azael against Isaiah or Brandon, and then you against either Isaiah or Brandon. And then the winner of the other one goes against the winner of your match. So I think that would be really cool. So you got injured in your match with Wes.
Yes.
What exactly happened? Did your shoulder separate or pop out?
Yeah, it was a partial dislocation, and luckily it went back in, and nothing was torn. I think there was a few hairline fractures on not the ball, but the bottom part of my shoulder socket. Other than that was pretty much it for the damage that was done. It's fully recovered now, and I have no doubt in it at all whatsoever. That was just, I'm going to say it a million times, that was a fucking awful match because of that. And it really screwed things up for that entire match. That, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Wes and I was really hoping to go up there and have a clean, awesome fight, and then it just went downhill from round 1.
Hey, it still worked in your favor, and that was freaking badass because you just popped her right back in and then just kept going. Well, because we've seen guys quit. They'll they'll break their hand and they won't use their other hand, or something happens to them.
Fuck that. So. Fuck that. You're gonna have to kill me to get me down from up there. And the doctors actually told me after I had come back for my next fight, they were like, hey, we let that go pretty far. We got to let you know. And we all are on the same page that if we have to stop it, we might stop it. And I'm like, oh, Jesus, add a little more pressure on top of everything else I have going on. Mm-hmm. Thanks a lot, Doc. But I understand they only want what's in my best interest. They've invested in me now, even more so physically, to help with the recovery of my shoulder. So I can see why they want everything to be taken care of that way.
Yeah. I I feel like I watched one of your other matches before too, that you had something in your shoulder after you slapped. So did you always have like an issue with your right shoulder before that?
It wasn't so much of an issue. Like I tweaked it before, and I'm kind of wondering. It was more like a stinger when I did that one. So maybe it was the first to lead up, and I just have to be in a certain spot. But I think I'm more so double jointed all over because I've dislocated my knee before. My other shoulder used to dislocate. My thumb's double jointed. It's one of those things where I think I have the tendency for pushing my body, and it's like, you're good, pop, now you're not, and then it just hopefully goes back in. I'm just trying not to have that happen anywhere else anymore.
Yeah. Could we ever see you moving up or down a weight class? I know before Power Slap, you have stated that you were over 200 pounds before and used to work out 3 times a day. You were super dedicated. So kudos to you for being where you are. But could we ever see you going back up or maybe going to 170?
I would prefer to go down first before going back up. I think that a double champ status of 170 and 185 would be the most realistic. So that way, go down, win that belt, give it up, obviously, so that way they could have the division back. But to be able to do that would be a real staple in my career. But if I'm gonna go up and then have to possibly go back down to 185, I would rather just stay on the lighter end, and then later on in my career, if I want to get big and bulky again, go up. I've danced with the heavyweights already. I'm not too worried about going back up there at this point unless I absolutely have to.
Yeah, I love it. Do you have anything new and exciting that you want to share with the fans? Well, actually, hold on, because I've seen you do the autographs the other day, so that's really exciting.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be on some cards. But do you have anything else that you want to share with the fans?
No, that's pretty much it at this point. The Leaf trading cards, I just signed over 400 autographs the other day. Those got shipped out yesterday. So hopefully here in the near future, those cards drop and everyone can, try and get their hands on it and really, hopefully be another stepping stone in growing the growth of my career.
I'm going to need one of those cards. I'm buying a lot of boxes when they come out. Like, I know you can't see right now, but my shelf's behind me, and then that one that's over here is just filled with trading cards and autographs. So I'm gonna need some later.
That'll be a perfect addition.
Yeah. Did they give you one of you, or no?
I'm not sure yet. I'm definitely gonna ask and see what I can try and get, because I'm sure I would like to get a couple of them. Hopefully for the kids, maybe make them, they have their own special ones then signed by dad. So that's just for them, but I'll have to see what I can do.
Yeah. I wonder if like grading companies are going to grade them too. That's so cool.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah. Where can people follow you at?
At John the Machine Davis on Instagram, the same on TikTok, John Davis on Facebook, and then Mr. John Davis 185, but my name is John the Machine Davis on Twitter. Or X now, sorry.
Yeah, you're the first one that's on X. Nobody, I know there's a couple of you guys, but the ones that I've actually talked to, none of them use X. I'm like, why not?
It's honestly so hard for me to try and keep up with all of them. Mm-hmm, Instagram, I seem to have the best luck with when it comes to actually chatting with people or, communication wise. But me trying to do actual posts and making stuff that goes on everything, I don't have enough time for that.
Yeah.
If I got to just do what I wanted all day long, sure, I'd have it rolling out every day with new stuff. But unfortunately, I don't have the time to even attempt to make the content, let alone edit it all and get it put up there and it actually look good.
Yeah. Oh, and then I actually have one more petty question too that I forgot to ask you earlier. Okay, so we have a lot of people chirping at you right now. They're saying, oh, you are rusty. You've been out too long. We need a new champ. What do you have to say to those people?
They can go fuck themselves. Those people, they're all just talking shit for no reason. I'm not ducking no one. I'm not dodging no one. I haven't denied any fights. You know, all of this asinine stuff that I'm scared of anybody. You people are crazy, dude. Y'all are smoking crack. If you think first of all, if you think I'm scared of anyone, you're out of your mind. If you think that I haven't been asking to fight for this entire time I've been off, you're even crazier because I already have. If some of you were more exciting, I probably would have had a fight by now. But unfortunately, you haven't been. So I had to wait. Like, this isn't me being upset at Power Slap because I had to be away for so long. This is me being upset with the middleweight division because I have to wait on you guys. And it's not my fault. It's on y'all.
Yeah, I love it. Talk your shit. Well, John, thank you so much for being here. It was my pleasure. I can't wait to see what's next for you. Hopefully before the end of the year. For those of you at home, be sure to like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. See you next Tuesday and stay petty, bitches.
Thank you.